So COVID has been tough for all of us in the last couple of years. A lot of small businesses got affected. Some of the businesses had to shut down, plenty of bankruptcies, a lot of disruption in the business. We started working from home, and things have not been normal. Right? In this entire chaos, one community which is often overlooked is the student community. Right? And just getting into a shoe of a student, since I'm very closely linked to most of the CFA candidates here, getting into a shoe of a student, you prepare for an exam, and then you reach closer, you put in all the intensity, and then you get to know that COVID has played a spoil sport, and the exams are cancelled, and that hurts, right? And then you decide to prepare for it again, and again something goes wrong. And next time you're preparing, you're at the back of your mind, you're always working, will the exams happen this time around? Right? And this is not only for CFA student in India, it has happened with a lot of other professional exams, CA, FRM, you name it. And in today's session, we're going to talk exactly about that. We're going to talk about CFA program. We're going to talk about CFA exams, the changes in the format. And with me for today's session, I have Mr. Vidhu Shekhar. So just to give you an introduction of Mr. Vidhu, he is the head of the CFA Society India. He started his career 33 years ago when he did his bachelor's in physics, followed that with an MBA from IIMs. And since then, he's been working in industry in various capacities. He's been the vice president product head for the largest exchange in the country. He's also worked with some capital market players. And in the last, he's also served with various government committees, the SEBI committees. And in the last few years, he's taken on the role of the head of the CFA Institute India. And in today's session, me and Vidhu are going to have discussion on a lot of topics related to CFA. We're going to try as many questions as you can that you guys have with respect to CFA. Now, a couple of important things. Whatever queries that you candidates have, people who are watching this video, we request you to keep on posting them in the chat box. Me and my team are monitoring them. And towards the end of the session, we're going to take all your queries. Right. So with this, we're going to start with the session. A warm welcome to Mr. Vidhu. Good afternoon, sir. How are you doing today?
Thank you, Utkarsh. Thank you so much. Thank you for inviting me. And hello to all of you guys. I understand that there are people not just from Pune and Mumbai, but other cities in India, as well as viewers from outside India. So hello to you wherever you are.
Thank you very much for agreeing to do this. As a student, if I put myself into a student shoe, I can imagine how important it is for me to know whether I am putting my efforts in the right direction. And I think hopefully today's session will resolve most of those queries. So I'm grateful to you for doing this, sir. Okay, so here's what's going to happen. We're going to have discussion on three main areas today. We will start the session on a general discussion about CFA. Then we will go on to the CFA exams, all the changes that have been happening in that space. And then towards the end, we all want to know about the career opportunities, jobs, and other opportunities in that sphere. And then towards the end of the session, we will take some Q&A, which is coming onto the YouTube. So let's get started. First question to you, Vidhu. There are some people, attending session today who probably do not know what CFA is, or they've heard about it from, somewhere, but they're not really sure how exactly it works. Especially in the context of India, when there are so many certifications, right? We've chartered accountancy, we've MBA finance, and as a student, it could be very confusing. So can you give us a little bit of perspective, thinking that we're dummies and we have no idea about what CFA is and how does it fit in the overall scheme of things today?
Sure. Happy to do that. Yeah. And Utkarsh, I'm sure that you can answer this question as well as I can, but since I'm the one
we want to hear it from you, sir.
Right. Yeah, right. So, and I'll talk about my own experience. So the CFA community, CFA Institute actually is a global not-for-profit membership organization. Okay, around the world, we have more than 170,000 members, and they are spread across every country. We like to say that there are CFA charter holders in more countries than there are McDonald's franchises. So it's a really widespread franchise. You'll find people everywhere. And who are these members of this association? Who are the charter holders? People who work in the investment management industry. So they could be working as uh, securities analysts, they could be working as investment advisors, they could be working as portfolio managers, they could be performance specialists, they could be teachers, academicians. This industry has become quite complex over the years, and there are, like any other industry, in order to deliver value to our customers, there are all kinds of different types of companies. So people work in many different roles, and as you progress in your career, we will talk more about it during the course of this conversation. The kind of work that you do can be very different. So essentially, everyone who is a member has at least 4 years of experience within the investment decision-making value chain, whatever it is. If you're a candidate, that you would know that we talk about investment analysis, investment recommendations, and investment actions. So you could be doing any of those things, or you could be supporting any of those things. We'll talk more about it. So this association has been in existence in its different avatars all the way since 1947, right? The same year that India became independent, there was this National Federation of Financial Analyst Societies, which was created in the US. And this federation happened because there used to be these small analyst clubs. People used to meet for lunch in cities like New York, Chicago, Boston, Philadelphia. And they would discuss their trade. And people would say that, oh, the insurance guys have their credential and the accountants have their credential. There's no credential for securities and analysts, so let's do something about it. And so they came together, created a federation. And then one of the things that they did was they said that we have to have a proper exam which qualifies people. It took a long time. There was a lot of debate about this, and ultimately the first CFA exam was offered in 1963. Okay, so the CFA exam came later in the course of the existence of CFA Institute, but the first thing probably which happened was the Financial Analyst Journal, which has been in existence since the mid-40s, and the CFA conference, which has been, I think we are doing the 75th conference or something like that this year. So the Institute has been in existence for a long time. It's a close-knit global community.
Yep. Was Ben Graham associated in any way with these meetings? I've heard, for those of you who do not know, sorry,
Yeah.
I think Ben Graham was kind of the guru of maybe Warren Buffett, if we can call him that. So how was he associated with
That's
this?
correct. He was one of the people to say that you need to call yourself a professional, okay, or not just somebody who knows a few tricks and practices something. You need to have a proper profession and credential. So Ben Graham was one of the early proponents of this. He was already, in fact, even the whole securities analysis profession emerged in the 1930s, post the Depression and so on. So he was very closely involved. And as you said, a lot of the industry leaders, in the 20th century were students of Ben Graham, right? And they were the ones who actually shaped what became of CFA Institute. In fact, we have our investment research challenge, and Warren Buffett once came as a judge in that challenge. So it's yeah, right. So,
I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, right. So there is a lot of pedigree and history to the institute. People know the institute as a set of exams, especially here in India. It's an exam to be passed that improves my ability to get a job. But there is much more to the institute. We can talk more about the various things that.
I remember when I took my level 2 exams, there used to be actually a topic on Ben Graham and Dodd and all the great guys who contributed to the whole investment framework and value investment thinking. There used to be dedicated topics discussing them at that time. Okay. So just to kind of keep it easy for someone maybe who's just starting up or thinking about a finance career. So if I want to become a fund manager or a portfolio manager, or if I want to become an investment banker, definitely CFA program does offer the level of skills and the knowledge that they would require to perform their duties, right? Would that be correct?
That's right. Yeah.
That way? Okay, great. So then the question comes, how does one become a CFA charter holder? Like, what do I need to do and what kind of exams one needs to pass?
So yeah, you know about the 3 levels of exams. People here are already candidates. Now, typically, what used to happen in the old days was that you would register for the exam when you're already working in the industry, right? I joined, and it's usually your employer who would tell you that, okay, fine, we hired you as an analyst. Now you better take the CFA
Fine, yeah.
exam. You pass the CFA exam, and so that we know that you know what you need to know. So this is a very late phenomenon that student candidates or people who are not in the industry take the exam is very recent, right? So by the time you pass your level 1, 2, and 3, you need 4 years of experience. Actually, we've changed it to number of hours recently. But traditionally, it used to be 4 years of investment decision-making experience for becoming a charter holder. So there were 3 requirements. Number 1 is you pass the 3 levels of exam. Number 2, you meet the minimum experience criterion. And 3 is that you sign the professional conduct statement, that you have to abide by the CFA Institute Code of Ethics and Standards of Professional Conduct. And you need to sign the professional conduct statement on an annual basis and subject yourself to the professional conduct discipline that is imposed by the institute. So these are the 3 requirements to become a charter holder. Now you could become a non-charter holder member of the institute. That is something which a lot of people are not aware of. So yeah, but then you cannot use CFA against your name. You could still be a member. You have to apply for membership, and people have to recommend. Now, when you are applying for membership, you need 2 people to recommend you. We generally encourage you to find one current CFA charter holder. And I always tell people that your immediate supervisor should be your second, recommender, so that they know that you've done this. And then they are watching for the experience that you are entering into the system. And then we have the membership process. And of course, there are 2 levels of membership. There is an institute membership and there is a society membership. Okay, so there's something called the CFA Society India. And if many of you would know Navneet Monoth, who is currently the CEO of HDFC Mutual Fund. Until recently, he was a chief investment officer for SBI Mutual Fund. He is the current chairman and president of CFA Society India. Before I took the job of CFA Institute's country head, I used to be a volunteer and I used to be the vice president of the society. So this is a volunteer-led society, and that's how most of you who are in India, once you become charter holders, your primary experience would be through the society. You will participate in conferences and networking events, workshops, seminars, etc. Because just like the doctors and the lawyers and any other profession, the work doesn't get over once you pass level 3, right? So you have a requirement for continuing professional development or professional learning for the rest of your life. If I were to take the CFA exam now today, I may not pass. Okay, so we won't talk more about it. But in fact, and you should not.
Maybe I can say that from myself.
Yeah. But at the same time, I do make sure that every year when the curriculum changes, right? So I track what are the changes in the curriculum. Right. I try to read the refresher readings. And whatever I need to understand from by participating in all the different continued professional development opportunities that we have, that's what keeps me current, and that's what should keep any member current. That's the value, right? Not just passing the exam and getting a job, but as you progress from being a junior analyst to a senior analyst to a fund manager to a CIO or a CEO, the institute provides you with the ongoing competencies that you need. We have something called a competency framework. We can talk more about it later. If you go and type in CFA competency framework into Google, you will get that, and it will tell you what are the competencies that I need for the job that I'm doing today or for the job that I want to do tomorrow. And then you can assess for yourself whether you have those competencies or not, and then build it so that you can progress in your career.
Oh, that's very interesting. I've never heard about it. And we do a lot of Google searches on CFA.
Okay. So you should search for CFA Institute competency framework. Okay, and you will see this grid, and in that grid you have rows and columns with the rows representing the different types of skills: technical skills, behavioral skills, and ethical skills. And the columns are the different roles, whether you're a strategist or a fund manager or analyst and so on. And within that, are you a credit analyst or you equities analyst, etc. So it tells you what are the competencies that are required, and people find it useful. So you could just
that's very useful. Okay, I think that's insightful. I want to move the session to the next section now. I've already see a lot of queries coming in on YouTube. So let's talk exams with it. When I took the exams, CFA level 1, I remember I had to travel to Nepal because it was that year when exams happened in India. There were 4 options, A, B, C, D, 4 options. You pick one and then you go. Then eventually it became 3 options, and even the style and the tone of the curriculum has been evolving, with the changes. Now, last couple of years or last year, we're looking at this new CBT format, right? So we've completely moved out of the paper-based, and now we are on the CBT format. First question, obviously, is why this transition? But I have a follow-up to that. One of the things that has happened with CBT now is we have CFA level 1 exams 4 times a year, as against twice earlier, and level 2 and level 3 twice a year now, as against once earlier. So do you think this will increase and I'm speaking on behalf of all the candidates because this question comes very frequently. Do you think this will increase the value of CFA candidates and charter holders in the market? I mean, increase the supply of the candidates, and therefore will it reduce the value of the charter?
So, first of all, Utkarsh, you started by talking about the pandemic and the difficulties that we have faced because of the pandemic, and that is something which we have seen firsthand. I get calls from candidates all the time, and I pick up the phone, I talk to them at length, and I'm really I'm aware, deeply conscious, about what you guys are going through right now. And I hope that that what happened in May is not going to happen again in July, August, November, in our subsequent windows. Hopefully, we should be all right. The whole idea of transition from paper-based to computer-based was something which was in the works already for quite some time, right? So December 2020 was going to be our last paper-based exam for level 1. And simply because we've been experiencing very strong candidate growth in all over the world, particularly in countries like China and India. And those of you who took the paper-based exam, in Mumbai, for instance, in Thakur College, you could see that every time you come for the exam, the number of people becomes larger and larger. It's hard to manage, right? And the whole logistical exercise was just becoming too much, right? So the transition to computer-based testing would anyway have happened, right? So and that just got accelerated. If the pandemic was not there, we would have first done level 1, which was again these 4 windows, Feb, May, August, and November. And then we would have slowly gone to level 2 after properly digesting the transition for level 1 and so on. But we got willy-nilly dragged into this. Okay, so this was on the cards, and this just got accelerated. as far as the supply question is concerned, the answer is yes and no, because when you took the exams, Utkarsh, and when I took it even a few years before that, there were very few candidates, and like I said before, the only people who were taking these exams were people who were already in the industry, and they were doing it because it gave them a systematic way of learning about the profession, right? So the moment people started doing it in order to enter the industry, the dynamics automatically change. And I would say that not every CFA candidate is the same, right? You're not. It depends. CFA is in some ways an add-on qualification to the other stuff that you're doing. You could be an MBA, or you could be an engineer, or you can be a CA, or whatever it is, right? So you are a complete package, and CFA is a part of you, right? And part of all the work that you have done in terms of experience, in terms of other credentials, and so on. So you can't really answer that question as to whether this increase in the supply of candidates does something. In fact, I worry. I sometimes tell people, don't do it, right, unless you know that you are ready for it, because you need to do a bunch of other things also to be able to get the job. So that's not the way to look at it. There will be more and more candidates. I guess the increase in some ways also is a result of increase in demand, because we have seen in the last 10 years, especially with the opening of all the global centers of the India centers of the global banks, okay? Typically, you see that they have the highest number of employees in their home market and the second highest in India, okay? So whether you take a BlackRock or a Goldman Sachs or a Fidelity, I tell people that you get off a plane in Delhi and drive towards Gurgaon, you will see the signboards of more investment firms than you will see in any 10 square miles in any other part of the world, okay? And that's a big change, and they have been driving demand for CFA candidates, because they tell their principals that we have the right talent here, you give us the work, we will get it executed, because these people they have done the credential, and they will be able to do the job that we want to bring into India. But still, I guess India is a country where there are always more people prepared to take the exams, more applicants for jobs than ever the industry demands. So you have to compete, and it's not an easy place to compete.
Yeah, no, I totally get that point. So there are. I'm connected to a lot of CFA Charter holders of my age, and probably guys who did before me. Right. One thing obviously people feel is too many people are writing, maybe the value will reduce. Right. That's one. What I tell these people, so we do at FinTree, we do a lot of work on placements. We take placements very seriously, and we primarily leverage on the network that we built in the country, people who studied with us. What I've been observing in the last few years is that the supply is creating the demand. Like that is my 2 cents on it. For example, there's a KPO based out of Pune, which basically do a financial modeling process, fairly, I think 500, 600 capacity type of KPO. So earlier, in our early days, 2015, 2016, when we used to try to place our people there, we used to hear back from the HR that we need CA interqualified. Right, but lately we don't have to go and push a CFA level 1 candidate there. And these guys themselves have understood what CFA level 1 is. So I think one answer to that in my mind comes is that the supply is also creating some sort of a demand. And there's also a little bit of market capture or a job capture, if we can call it, in the other areas which were traditionally in some other courses. Okay. So I'm going to stick to exams. We'll go to jobs later on. That should be very interesting. What do you think about the difficulty level? Do you think the format impacts the level of difficulty of the exams?
Oh, we've gone through a very rigorous process to make sure that that hasn't changed. Okay, so there's a lot of analysis that was done. because we reduced the time for the exam from 3 hours to 2 hours, 25 minutes, and we reduced the number of questions to 180. So, so this is something which the institute does very, very rigorously. We are, I think of any other credentialing body, we would say we are up there in terms of how we test, whatever is there in the curriculum. And I don't think there has been any dilution of any kind because of the transition from the paper-based to computer-based.
Okay, so you're saying that the level of difficulty more or less remains
the same. Yeah.
Okay. How about, and this one I get a lot, how about possibility of, now that we've moved from a paper-based to computer-based, that provides us a lot of tools in our hand. So how about a futuristic CFA program, maybe 2025, 2030, where a candidate is actually required to code or maybe use a spreadsheet software within the exam to solve certain problems. Do you think that's a possibility?
Look, we are constantly looking at what our candidates need, what a freshly minted charter holder should look like. Okay. Of course, there are certain limitations of the testing process that, like I said before, in the old days, a lot of these things were taken care of because you were already working in the industry. So you are actually learning within the team. So there is no need for an exam to test it. I really can't say anything about how the testing process will evolve. But there is one thing which I can definitely say is that in addition to the exam testing process, we are putting in some effort in order to provide our members and subsequently candidates with the tools that they will need in order to learn some of these skills, which cannot be learned in a sort of reading a curriculum, taking a test type of situation. So, and a lot of this is also individual driven. So I don't know what your experience is, but I tell people that, okay, you've registered for level 1, right? So your responsibility is not over when you pass the exam. You have to start reading the newspapers. You have to do your own financial modeling. Maybe if you find that this is what you want to do, there's some other small short course that you need to do. If FinTree is offering it, go and do that, right? Think about where you're going to be, what kind of process they have to take new people into the company, and acquire those skills. So if you just focus on passing an exam, that may not get you there. I know that you know this better than me, but there is a parallel journey of development that has to happen outside of the exam.
Yeah. No, I think I totally get that. I think right from day one, we are basically pushing people to learn programming skills, even chartered accountants. And I must say this, Vidhu, from an instructor perspective, right? So I come from accounting background. I'm a chartered accountant, and I had never done any sort of coding all my life. But the recent changes in the CFA program, for example, the machine learning was introduced in level 2, and I had to teach it. And I didn't know how to teach it. So I had to teach myself first. And in that process, I developed a lot of interest. And I really thank CFA curriculum for that, because otherwise, I think, I would have never learned those skills. And the curriculum, like in those areas, is also top notch. I spoke to a lot of experts in my process of preparation. I asked them if you could teach me how to teach this. And those guys who are working in industry in the machine learning space were very impressed with how the curriculum was designed. So I think on that front, we've done a phenomenal job as far as the curriculum.
Yeah. So Utkarsh, so let me take 1 minute to tell you how that process happens. So, why is it that our curriculum remains, that high quality curriculum over the years? What we do is every year we take around 15% of our curriculum and take it out to the industry and do something called practice analysis. Okay. But practice analysis is done in various different ways. Like we are looking at what is new, right? And what has changed. And based on this practice analysis process, which is a fairly rigorous process in which we talk to our members, non-members, regulators, and then we bring back these changes. And then we have an exam committee which which studies all this and then decides what needs to change in the curriculum. And then we go out and hire the right experts to write the curriculum for us. We have curriculum directors who are internal staff members, but then they work with external consultants, typically from industry as well as academics, to develop this. So that's what keeps it current. So somebody who took the exam in 1964, there were no financial derivatives there, right? When I took the exam at that time, there were no alternatives, right? So we didn't even have any coverage of alternatives. So, and it's changing with every year. So it's good to hear from you that we've got it right in terms of data science, machine learning, and I think that's why even after you pass level 3, you need to keep watching what's happening in the curriculum and keep updating yourself.
Yeah, I completely agree. Again, I just want to stick to exams for a bit.
Yeah, please stop me if I'm rambling on, because I tend to do that. So
no, that's
interrupt
fine.
And move, because we
Any
have
information
limited time.
coming from you is gold. We're just listening to it very carefully. So next one. Let's hypothetical scenario. Let's assume that we hit a third wave. Let's hope not, but let's say that if that happens, is there a way a candidate can sit back at home and take the exam?
Yeah, I mean, this is we've done a little bit of experimentation with this online proctoring and so on. Early results don't give us the confidence of doing this, because this is a very high stakes exam, and there is so much riding on it. So we are at this point, we are not ready, but that doesn't mean that we will never be ready or whatever it is. But right now, it's not one of the options that CFA Institute is offering for the exams.
No, nowhere in the world, right? It's not happening anywhere.
No, we did a little bit of experimentation, but that's about it for the time being. Yeah.
Okay.
And if there is a change, then you will know.
Okay. Fair enough. So again, let's think from a candidate perspective. Let's say I'm a CFA candidate. I originally signed up for June 2020 level 2 exams. So in the month of March, I received an email saying we're in the middle of a pandemic, exams cancelled. So I kind of convinced myself it's a tough situation. My safety comes first. I say, okay, fine, let's reboot. Let's start studying again. Option for me is now December 2020. So I study for 5-6 months again with all my intensity, because CFA level 2 matters to me, or level 3 matters to me. And then in the month of October, I get an email that December 20 is cancelled. This time I'm a little frustrated, but then I blame the COVID and the situation, and I say, okay, fine. I need to divert my energy somewhere, learn a few new things, and prepare for the May 21 exams. Then when I'm closer to May 21 exams, I get an email in April which says that exams are cancelled again. And especially imagine a situation where I'm a candidate who quit his job or her job to prepare for exams in January 2020. So I've been sitting jobless for a year and a half, hoping to write an exam, and the exams are cancelled. So a common question that a lot of my students are facing is that why was the May exam not allowed to be taken in the month of August? Why was it pushed directly to November? Because we had that year, to prepare and maybe anticipate that something like this might happen. That would have helped them, 2-3 valuable months. Also eased a little bit of anxiety. What do you have to say about that?
Yeah, this is a tough one, right? And unfortunately, I don't have a good answer. And it's not the first time. Every single day, I get at least one call, somebody saying that, hey, what about August, right? We have a window in August. I can't take this exam in August. But This is the exam administration is happening globally, and we have global arrangements with Prometric and British Council and so on. And uh, it's a big ship, right? It can't turn on a dime. And there are already a lot of scheduling being done, a lot of capacity constraints, and we are not the only exams. There are lots of other exams also happening. And we examined everything. We tried the best, but the only solution we could find was to. And there's lots and lots of people here, and who piled up for May. And there was at that point in time also uncertainty about July, August. So it takes time for all this to happen, right? For the deferrals, the schedulings, and the reschedulings, and different cities moving people in and out. So it's quite complicated, and that's the reason why we are not able to offer it in this July, August timeframe, and we are offering it only in November. I mean, there's really nothing more that I can say about it other than bear with us, right? I know that that's not a good answer for most people, but that's where we are.
No, but honestly, Vidhu, that's I think one front. I know every institute has done it, right? And I can see the reason why. And maybe I'm also part of some other institutes, and like some of the institutes I wouldn't even have expected to kind of react to it, because they operate very slow and they have those structures. But with CFA Institute, like what I thought as a trainer and instructor being attached to so many students is that technology needs to adapt to the human needs, not the other way around. And for for you and me, maybe our careers are not at stake, so 6 months is fine. But yeah. I meet so many students who are not working, and they don't know if they should take a job now, because then the exams will come very soon and they will not find time to prepare. So I think expectation was that it could have been anticipated, and it could have been.
I mean, May is something that nobody anticipates. See, you must remember that we did have the exams in February, right?
Yes, so, we did. Correct.
Yeah, and it was very smooth, right? It was like surprisingly smooth.
Yes.
There was really, of course, we were seeing the second wave hitting many other parts of the world, and in India, like the whole conversation in February, March was that, okay, this is behind us and we are back to normal. So, it's really taken everybody by surprise. So that's where we are. I mean, what can I say? There's, the other thing is, when I took my exams, I didn't quit my job. Okay. So that's the other thing that I find it very interesting these days, is that people feel the need to quit their jobs in order to prepare. You probably can answer that question better. What do you advise people to do, right? Like, you think that you really need to quit your job in order to prepare for the CFA exam?
Okay, that's a great question. I'll answer that in a bit, but I want to take you back to my first question, okay. And then we can come on this. So let's find it has happened now. Now I think these guys are writing level 2 and level 3 in November. I want you to give us some tips in terms of how we can what we can do now to kind of give us that extra push in our career. Because the feeling that lies is that मेरे life में से 1 साल चला गया, right? 1 year out of my life evaporated for everyone, not only for CFA students. But what tips or what advice do you have for some of these candidates?
See, one possibility is that, especially for level 3 candidates, I would say that you would have passed level 3 and you would have got your charter and become a member. You really don't need to pass level 3 in order to become an affiliate member. Okay, so you could become an affiliate member, sign up. There is a small fee. It's $100 per institute and $50 for society. So it works out to around 10,000 rupees. And once you become an affiliate member, then you have access to all the resources that any member has. Okay, and this is something which I say to all our members, that CFA Institute membership is like a gym membership, right? So gym has got lots of equipment in it, but unless you go to the gym every day and work out, you're not going to get the results that you want. So maybe you should do that. You should start doing the other stuff that the members are already doing, and move on. And when the exam comes, you take the exam, then you pass, and then you get your so this I'm sure we would have shared with you all the career resources that we have. Of course, there are many resources that you can have access to even without becoming a member. On the CFA Society India site and the CFA Institute site, there are nice things like the CV Builder or other the job line and things like that, which you can use. Plus, if you become attached to the community, you can start volunteering, you can start participating in the conferences and workshops. So, it depends on where you are in your life. You can do many other things. I would think that, keep doing those things, which you are, as you wait for your exam to happen.
Oh yeah, that's useful. I think I want to get back on that, on the career center, because a lot of candidates don't know about it. But I think before I close this second section, one final question about exams. What do you think? It's just a guess and opinion. What do you think about the July and August exams? Are they happening in India?
Looks like, I mean, so far, I'm in constant touch with our exam admin team, and it's quite interesting to see that the numbers have come down very, very sharply. Okay, I was looking at the Delhi numbers this morning, and I was quite surprised how quickly they have come down. Okay, now of course we know how this pandemic moves, right? Like numbers improve, people start going out. Yeah. And then that number slowly start going up. So it depends on where you are at the stage when the exams are happening. If I have to hazard a guess, and it's very hard to guess about these things, I think in the July-August timeframe we will be fairly all right? So you can still expect some places, some specific testing venues where there could be an issue. But what we've been trying to do is that if a particular venue is not operating on a particular day, then you can find a nearby venue, move people, and there are some backup options and things like that. As long as the whole city is not shut down, as long as the whole country is not shut down, which doesn't likely to happen, right now. Of course, the vaccinations are also picking up pace. So I'm hopeful that July, August should go through the same way that February happened.
Yeah, correct.
And May was an exception.
So which means if any July or August candidate is watching this session, please start studying.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Get back to your studies aggressively.
You guys must be real experts by now that you have studied the same level over and over and over again. So
that's actually my next question now.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
That's my next question now. Do you think this is going to make passing exams, at least in the next couple of attempts, a little difficult because everyone is so well prepared?
No, actually, so we have this minimum passing score, and the minimum passing score is decided for each exam. But we do compare from one exam to the next, so that consistency is maintained. So if everybody performs well, it's not a percentile thing. So if everybody performs well, it doesn't mean that we will bump up the minimum passing scores in order to reduce the pass percentage. So if people do well, then they will pass. So don't worry about that.
So you're saying that if 100 candidates are writing the exam and let's say 90 of them are really good with the content, you think there is a probability that all 90 of them will pass?
In theory, yes. In theory, yes. But I'll be very surprised if we get a 90% pass rate. I don't know, what is your pass rate in at FinTree? You have your numbers, right? You can compare and see. I'll be curious to know what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll definitely let you know about that. Okay. I think that answers most of our questions on exams. We'll probably take some live YouTube eventually. But let's talk about jobs for now and career opportunities in general. I think so. You asked me a very important question, like what do I advise or what does my team advise when a candidate comes in, right? For 99% of the cases, we basically tell them that experience is as important as your certifications. Maybe experience is more important, right? So we push most of these people to kind of try and do both at the same time. But there are some cases where a candidate is doing a job which, like, we feel that he's not learning anything, it's not adding value to him. For example, someone trying to sell credit cards, maybe CASA type of program in RM, and they've been doing this for a while, they understand how it works, and they're not learning anything. Plus a lot of pressure. So those are the cases where we recommend that, okay, fine, start looking for alternate options, and in the meanwhile focus on studies. So what I want to know from you is, let's talk about a fresher now, either a level 1 qualified or a level 2 qualified, as a level 1 pass to level 2 pass. I'm a fresher, no experience, did engineering or did BCom, passed 2 levels of CFA exams, have done some courses, maybe financial modeling, a little bit of coding. What should I do? How should I approach the job market?
I guess, you have to get a foot in the door, right? You have to get an interview call. That's the first challenge, right? One of the standard answers that I give people is to network, right? To get to know who are the employers in your area, to meet people. And in fact, being a member of the society is quite helpful, in that sense. Because the way these networks operate is that one person, that one person can introduce you to somebody else, and so on. So if you start participating in some of these activities, especially if you volunteer, then it gives potential employers a way of seeing you, in a different light. I always tell people that even if you are in a job, right? Your job. There is a job description, and that's the only thing that you're doing. So there's no way of signaling your abilities beyond that job description, right? So you need to do something, which tells people that you have the abilities, that they should give you a call at least for an interview. Now, we recently had what we call the Financial Talent Summit. We've been doing that for the last few years. And what we do in the Financial Talent Summit is that we have a few sessions where we talk about these sort of things, that your personal brand and how to look at your career. We also have these career webinars, and they're all on YouTube. And you can register for them. If you're a candidate, you will get the email. And we get a lot of people participating in that. These career webinars will give you a better understanding of the exact types of jobs, the organization structure. We just on Thursday, 2 days ago, we did one on index research, ETFs, and passive investing, and so on. So the person who conducted is the head of product development, index product development at NSE, Aman Singhania. And he gave the organization structure of the companies which are in this business, and these are the type of jobs, and this is what they're looking for. And if you have this, then maybe you have you could probably go there, right? So keep watching, like understand the industry at a finer level than you do now, right? And see what is emerging. So, there's been a big shift from active to passive, and suddenly sometimes you find that people are not able to find, some, entry-level resources with that particular skill. And you get it's not easy. You have to keep your eyes open all the time. You have to know what is going on. You have to talk to a lot of different people. It's no simple silver bullet answer, but there are a bunch of things that you can do which get you closer. So that's all I can say, as a summary answer to the question.
Right. Will there ever be something like a campus placement with the institute?
I'm not in a position to answer that question. See, we are at the end of the day, we are a credentialing organization. We are not an academic institution that gives postgraduate degrees or diplomas and things like that. And so we are bound by what, whatever restrictions that we have. Okay. So I really don't see how we can step into that area, at least right now. But we are exploring how we can help this candidate community, and perhaps we work with universities and with the providers like you to support you guys in the work that you are doing.
Right.
So no formal campus placement type of activity from us.
Understood. And then how does the because I've been hearing from candidates that there is a career center by CFA Institute, but I think not every one of us know about it. Can you tell us like what exactly happens at the career center? How does it function?
Yeah, I mean, so there is a URL which we can share, and then you can share it with people. So the employers, they have to open an account, create an account, and start posting their jobs on that portal. And and if you're a candidate or a member, you can go and apply for those jobs. We have a career resources committee. So the way the society operates is that society has a number of committees. We have which are doing different things. Like there's a committee for professional learning, there's one for research and advocacy, there's one on careers, there's one on membership, and so on. So there are these committee members who are, and we have chapters in all cities, including Pune. So, and these chapters are quite active in bringing some of these things in. For instance, it's the career committee which conducts the Financial Talent Summit every year, and it used to happen in multiple cities. We used to do this in Mumbai, in Bangalore, and Delhi. But now it's virtual, so there was one single virtual Financial Talent Summit recently. So these are some of the things that we do. So you can go in and if you're an employer, we encourage you to open an account and start posting your jobs there. And if you're a job seeker, then keep an eye out on what's appearing on that job line.
So it's more like a portal where I
it's like a portal, yeah. But it also has a lot of career related resources. Right. And I think you could go look at all these webinars. We do two types of webinars. One is called the career series, the other is called the practitioner series. The practitioner series is actually intended for our members and focus on the day-to-day work that they do, and really practitioner oriented stuff. If you go to the CFA Society's YouTube channel, you'll see a lot of these things there.
Yeah, okay, that's useful. I've seen, by the way, I've been watching a lot of these webinars, and I'm a little surprised, and I think this is for all the candidates also. CFA Institute Society has this YouTube channel that you guys need to go and subscribe to and watch some of the content. I think the content that has been put there is phenomenal. I mean, there are sessions that I've seen where I've got tremendous value by watching a 2-hour or 90-minute video. And for some reason, I think there is a lack of awareness. I think that's the real problem here. But the kind of content created is really, I mean, we should congratulate you for that.
Yeah, I'll give you a quick example, Utkarsh. We are running out of time, but there was this company which moved its whole valuation control function from a different country into Bangalore. And this person who was running it, he told us that I will do a webinar for you in which I will explain how we do this work. I'm interested in hiring people to who are good, really good people for this team.
Yep.
And then post the webinar, you send me your applications, and then we will do a workshop. The employers are prepared to go through a few steps to bring you in, and the first step is this kind of a career webinar. So if you keep an eye out, you will find opportunities coming through those kind of places as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. All right. So yeah, we are running out of time. We'll quickly take some queries on YouTube. Can we go on for another 15 minutes?
Sure, I'm okay with that. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. All right. So I'm opening up the chat box now. Also requesting FinTree team, if you've shortlisted some questions from the YouTube, you can also put it on my Zoom panel, so I'll be able to pick them up. All right, first question is coming from Jay Kapadia. Question is, will a deferral option be given for July 2021? That's what the question says.
Deferral option.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, if the exam is happening, then there is no deferral option. But if you have a special circumstance, like for instance, if you have tested positive, or if a near family member has tested positive, and so there's a reason why you can't appear for the exam, then of course you get a deferral. So there is a deferral policy on the website, and you need to write in, and then you can get a deferral. But you can't just say that, oh, like, I've changed my mind. I registered, I scheduled my exam, but now I've changed my mind. I want to do it sometime later. Then you won't get a deferral, right? Then it won't happen.
But all those people,
yeah, like even if suppose I have a problem that I'm in a particular containment zone and I'm not able to get out and go to the exam and take the exam, then also I can get a deferral, right? So the policy is reasonably, it's fair, for to accommodate people who are facing difficulties.
Right. One question I received yesterday, it was on FinTree's YouTube channel. Level 2 exams are now pushed to November window. Some of the candidates, their CA exams are kind of coinciding with the level 2 now.
Yeah.
So what happens to those candidates? Do they get to defer because they didn't choose November in the first place?
They didn't choose November in the first place. Yeah. So this is something which I have also heard. When at the time that we had to cancel our May exams, we deferred all candidates to November. So I don't have an answer right now. There is no other option, but maybe this is something that I can bring back to my exam admin team and see. So one of the things is that, of course, these exams are happening over a window. So, but I understand that if you're taking your CA finals and you're taking your CFA, so like, nobody's Superman. So it's problematic. How does it work for CA exams? Like if you're not able to take it, then what happens? When is your next chance?
There are, see, the thing with CA exams is the exam fee is very low. Right? So of course, time is a criteria, but as a student at that age, and that part of the career, it's a CFA exam is a lot of money. Like I remember I used to be so scared that if I fail, I'm going to lose my 8 months of internship money.
Right.
That's where I think a lot of this, and that's why people want to be very well prepared for CFA so that they don't lose on the exam money.
Right. Yeah. It's one of those unfortunate things, but let me go back and check this. Right now there is nothing, but let me find out if there is anything that can be done.
Okay, so I think if you find some information, we'll probably put it on a YouTube comment and pin it.
Yeah. Okay, we can do that. In any case, if there is any change, then the candidates are informed if there is any change in any of these policies.
Sure. Okay.
But I really can't say anything about it at this point.
No, that's fine. I think we'll kind of follow up with you on that. Okay, let's see what else we have. CFA exams will happen in July. I think that has already been answered. July. I think we're getting a lot of July questions. That has mostly been answered. Okay.
One thing I always find is that as the exam gets closer, people discover they have not done enough preparation. And that, nobody has ever prepared enough for the exam. And then because now we have multiple windows, like you say, okay, if I have 3 more months, then I would be ready. But, right.
But I think that the same was case, I think case with me when I wrote my exams. I always felt the day of the exam, it's like, if I had a couple of more days, I would have been, better off. Okay. We do a lot of candidates don't know about the scholarships that the CFA Institute offers, right? And there are a lot of different types of scholarships. So there are a couple of questions which have come. Can you elaborate and expand a little bit on how the whole scholarship mechanism works?
Sure. So we have different types of scholarships. One is the standard access scholarship where, it's means tested when you apply. you have to fill in an application where you show your sources of income and things like that, and why you deserve that scholarship. But in addition to that standard scholarship, we also offer scholarships for women, because we want to encourage women, to sit for the exams. And even otherwise, if there is anything that we can do to improve our ratio, we have about 32% of our candidates are women today in India. In fact, in China, more than 50% candidates are women. So, in India, we really lag. And by the time they get to membership, only around 10% of our members are women. So, they are falling off, right? There are more candidates by the time you pass level 3. The percentage is lower by the time you become member. So, we try to encourage women, not just with scholarships, specific women scholarships, but also in any other ways that we can throughout the journey, in order to improve diversity in the investment profession. Then we also have scholarships for certain special categories like media. We offer some scholarships. So if you have journalists, right, if that can improve the quality of reporting, then we offer some scholarships for people who are working with media houses. We offer scholarships for people who are working with regulators. So we have arrangements with SEBI and RBI. A lot of people there take, then usually what happens is that the regulator themselves, they support that we offer a scholarship, plus they support with their own budgets and so on. And lastly, for teachers, we have faculty. We have some scholarships for them as well. I always encourage faculty to do
absolutely
CFA. Right? They're doing a brave thing, because if their student passes and they don't pass, then right?
Yeah, I can imagine that. But see, I think these days, with the internet, students are always smarter than you. Like I have experience. I started my teaching career teaching in a business school about 8-9 years ago, and I was 25, 26 at that time, and I was teaching an executive MBA. My average class age was 30, 32. These guys were experienced. And I think CFA at that stage helped me tremendously, because at least I was a little confident in terms of what I was talking about. So yeah, I completely get that point. Okay, last couple of questions. We've got some really interesting ones here. The question is that, will I become redundant as a CFA charter holder or someone who holds knowledge of finance because of AI and machine learning? Do you think that that's a possibility, that people who are skilled in finance will lose jobs because machines will be able to do that better?
I mean, maybe you should be the one who's making other people redundant, right? So it works both ways. So people who are passing today, I tell them that you are the disruptor, and you're going to disrupt the guy who came 10 years ago if he hasn't kept up, right? So yes, because the skills that the industry requires is constantly changing. So if you don't change with the change in the industry, then you could get disrupted out. But I think that there are ways of keeping ahead in that game, right? We do a lot of research. We have this recently published report called The Future of Work. We are looking at T-shaped teams, right? So and so on. So no one can take their job anywhere, so whether it is software or anything else, for granted. So and I think if you look at your job or your profession as serving your clients' needs, then you will use the right tools in order to serve your client, right? Whether it is as an analyst or whether it is as an investment advisor or whatever it is. And if you are doing that, then there is no reason for you to fear, because the client is still there, and the need for asset allocation, portfolio management, that still remains. Now, if you're an active manager and passive is taking over, then maybe you need to understand smart beta. Maybe you need to do that transition away from what doesn't really produce the alpha of like, and two, the area where you can actually help your customers. So you should not narrowly focus on your current job description, but you should know where the industry is going and you should prepare and you keep moving with it. This is generic advice, but you need to interpret it in your own situation.
I think skilling and reskilling and relearning and learning is the name of the game.
People in software know this, and they have known it for last 30
correct.
years because, like if you learned COBOL 30 years ago, it serves you for a few years, and then after that you move to C++ and then to Python or whatever it is, right? So you can't.
I think finance is a new software. I mean, the rate at which things are changing, I feel like if I don't upskill myself and if I don't learn coding, probably 5 years, my skill of probably being able to analyze annual reports becomes redundant because machines do better.
At least the curriculum is keeping pace with that, and there are other things that we do which will also keep pace. So we'll see. Yeah.
Okay. All right. One last question. This is my question actually. I'm not taking this from YouTube. You're a physics grad, and then you went and did your MBA, and then you had a successful finance career. Where in fact I skipped that part of introduction, but I'll encourage people to go and look it up online. We do is work with a lot of different regulatory committees and different participants in financial markets. The reason why, like the question that I want to ask you is, a lot of students come to us with non-finance background, engineering and mathematics and different areas, and they feel that they are starting with a little bit of disadvantage in the field of finance because they feel that maybe commerce people have already learned it. What is your advice to these people? Do you think that that's the truth, your graduation, or do you think there's something else to the story?
No, I mean, for me, look, specifically in my case, when I came out of school, what in my naivete at that time, I wanted to become a physicist. Okay. And I said, okay, this is what I want to do. Let me study physics. Right. And by the time I got through my physics BSc, I said, oh, maybe I don't have what it takes to be a first-rate physicist. So let me hedge my bet. And everybody would take these exams, and I, to my utter surprise, got into IIM Ahmedabad, right? Maybe because I wasn't really, trying, and whatever happened, right? And I'm there, and I don't know. And at IMA, the people who finish their chartered accountancy and then come there. So we had engineers, we had CAs, we had science graduates, arts graduates, and so all kinds of people. This was mid-80s, okay? So we all learned from each other. Right? So one of my dorm mates was a chartered accountant, and I got him to sit down and tell me how debit cash comes in is debit, cash goes out. So I had to start from there. But you learn, right? If it's not a problem. I don't think you should think that just because somebody has done BCom, they can't pick it up. And I found CFA is a good place to start picking stuff up. We see all the time that companies like to hire engineer plus level 1, right? And that's a good combination to a junior analyst entry-level job. And what you learn in a science, engineering, STEM education is really useful because you become comfortable with numbers, you become comfortable with analysis and things like that. And I think that coming from the other background is a higher challenge. Everybody has to learn everything depending upon what they are doing. So don't worry about what you learned in your undergrad.
Yeah, and I think then there are also certain areas of advantage that I feel coming from physics background or even engineering background in general. I remember as a teacher when we are trying to explain what convexity really is. A lot of people who haven't really done any science struggle, but for people with engineers or
options trading, right? There are lots and lots of people who have done a doctorate in physics and then built a great career in I remember Ashwin Chabra, who was at Merrill Lynch, and he wrote this great book, I'm not getting the name of the book right now, but yeah, lots and lots of if you look at the top rungs of this industry, you will find people have come from all kinds of backgrounds, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, so
I
you
don't
should
know
take
them.
out from that. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I think with this, I'm just going to make a closing remark and close the session. So first of all, thank you very much for doing this. In future, if we have to, if candidates have to reach out to CFA Institute in India, is there a way they can do it?
Yeah, sure. I mean, they can come to us through you if they are your candidates. Otherwise, we are always out there doing interactions through our conferences and networking events and things like that. And we will keep coming up with new ways of outreach. You can feel free to write to us. If you write to the info ID, it gets passed back to us if you have a question that is specific to India. And we will keep engaging.
Understood. Okay. So because I don't get an opportunity to share what I feel about CFA, I think I'm going to use this opportunity. So I passed my level, 3 exam long time back, I think 2009, if I remember well, or somewhere in that time slot. And then I was trying to do a variety of other things, and then teaching started. But last 10 years, I've spent 70% of my life on the CFA program, right? I mean, it has been day in and day out, either preparing for the session or rereading through curriculum, or just looking at the content. And honestly, for me personally, I feel that I have grown so much even after passing level 3. I've learned a lot, and I just want to, and I'm sure a lot of students like me who are spending important time of their lives with the CFA curriculum. Just want to say thank you for arranging such a phenomenal program. And during the session, if you found me a little, I don't know what's the right word for it, but with the whole cancellation, that's because I feel so emotionally invested with the program, talking to candidates day in and day out. So thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to have you here. And we wish to have you more frequently now to have communication with the candidates in future.
Sure. Thank you so much, Utkarsh. I hope this was useful to your candidates.
Absolutely, it was. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.